I'm tired. Now I'm ready to go to sleep.
No, we're full of energy.
I'm tired now.
You just want to go to sleep?
I want to go to sleep.
But these poor people are waiting to listen to us. So, welcome to the middle of February's MyRealTalk with
Kiara, McLaughlin.
And Roger Southam. How you been?
Good.
Yeah? Rocking and rolling?
Good start to the year.
Anyone to think you just damped yourself down with a tissue paper?
Excuse me?
No, I know, that was mean. But anyway, fun. Right, so, I'm perspiring. So, what we're going to talk about today is the topic of how the Cayman is different, and probably the Caribbean is different to
the rest of the world?
The rest of the world, exactly right. We're also going to touch on a new property we've got coming up, which is super exciting. I always say that, but honestly, this is great. We've got some one beds at Gateway West, haven't we? Mm-hmm. And then we've got another crazy idea that I want to throw out, which is to look at independent agents kind of forming an association. So I just want to throw that out into the marketplace and see what reaction we get on that.
Yeah. So I kind of just want to touch base with Gateway.
Yeah.
That's, So Gateway West is a new listing. The developers are really known for matching their renderings. So what you see is what you get, basically. These are one bedrooms located in Georgetown, under 300K, listed at 289,000 CI. Still very affordable, great for investment, short-term rental, long-term rental, or just a first-time Caymanian buyer. Full disclosure, I'm gonna try to buy one as well, because it's such a great opportunity for anyone that just want to get their foot in the door, and it's a good stepping stone to building your real estate portfolio as well.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So you get self-contained, one bed, living room, laundry room with the stacked laundry units, kitchen.
And here's the thing, they're not only remodeling the inside, but also the outside.
Absolutely, the outside.
So they're turning a building into a pool, cabana area as well. So nice. Yeah, it's going to be great.
No, it'd be fun. And it's unbelievably quiet where they are, which is delightful, given how close it is to Georgetown.
So that is Gateway West. If you're interested in viewing, hit your girl up. I'm so happy to show anyone that's interested in seeing or buying. And you should, even with cockerels in the background. Yeah. So,
recently, Security Centre, I'll give them a bit of a plug because they deserve it for the kind of range of talks they're putting on over the coming weeks and months. And they had one recently where they had two guys down from Toronto talking about security systems and security measures and risk assessments and how you plan and plot and try and mitigate your threats and dangers. And as I sat listening, it struck me something that's probably been within me and I just haven't really thought about it a lot before, and that is the differences between being in the Caribbean and in Cayman and kind of the rest of the world, and how things that you would normally do in business or in transactions anywhere else that kind of we don't do here. And I think it brings up one of those questions of how much are people here because of the Caymanian way of life, and how much are they trying to bring their way of life and change the Caymanian way of life. And I just think it's an interesting debate, and it's one of those things that kind of always needs to be out in the open, because if you don't put it out in the open, it's something that always kind of sits and festers and people never really engage or talk about. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that we'll get some chat, we'll get some comments, subscribe and all the other bits, because on Radio Cayman you often get the Caymanians phoning in and sad that at the loss of some of the Caymanian ways and some of the bits, and I mean you're Caymanian, so you know exactly where I'm coming from this.
I also understand too that Cayman is also well behind with a lot, especially in technology, and just with Cayman could just move at such a faster pace.
But isn't it trying to get the bits that are needed and of necessity and make it more efficient, rather than changing Cayman or changing the nature of the island? And because it feels to me as an expat that I'm here I love living here. It's just perfect. But I don't want to recreate England or UK or Europe or USA because I've come to the Caribbean for the Caribbean. I've come to Cayman for Cayman. So I would rather mold me to what the island offers and make our working lives as efficient as possible. So where there's technology that will make our life easier, implement it. Where there is technology that will help things, implement it. Where there's systems that could be easier, implement it. But not to actually fundamentally get rid of the Caymanian culture, the Caymanian flavor, the Caymanian ways.
Yeah, I just came from Aruba, and Aruba is actually well developed as well, you know, and I got a taxi driver who was a local guy, and I just asked, like, how does the locals feel about, you know, the government just, you know, bringing in these new developments and doing these new buildings? And he was like, oh, we love it.
Yeah.
We love it because we get jobs, you know, like. Yeah,
but for here, we've now gone up to 10 stories. If we suddenly had 20 stories, 50 stories, is that going to make it a mini Miami and lose what is the charm of what we're sitting in, which is Miss June's cottage on the seafront?
Yeah.
And that's the challenge.
That is the challenge. And going 50 up in the sky, I mean, honestly, I try to keep my opinion to myself mainly, but it is going to be interesting to see how it turns out. You know, I think they really just need to kind of, I don't know, there's so many people moving here as well. They need places to stay.
Absolutely, but you've then also got to look after the workers who are coming in.
Yeah.
It's all very well building the expensive properties and the expensive condos, but where are the workers going to be housed? How are they going to get to their work if they're having to move so far away for affordability, etc.?
Yeah.
So there's a whole interplay that needs to be thought through, aside from some of the simplicity. I've just done KYC stuff for the bank, and I filled out the same form 5 times is how it feels. I've certainly filled out the same information 5 times, whereas if someone actually sat back and said, okay, let's design a KYC form, you'd fill the information out once and it'd be a lot easier and a lot more. So that's where there's a conundrum.
Yeah, there could be things done a lot easier and things done differently. But you know what, Roger? Not everyone is us.
Not everyone is us, you're absolutely right. To which point we'll now move on to, so we have been talking about independent agents and listing services and how the independents could actually form an association and come together and create a pool of listings and a body and give an identity for the myriad of independents. Now, I've set my stall out, and I've said this before, that I'm trying to build an English estate agency and I want to work with Caymanians primarily, and that's where I'm kind of seeing what we can do. So we put something back, we give qualification that's worldwide recognised, we do all the things that are good. So taking that one step further, as a result of 3 conversations we've had now, it feels as though there is something to be done to appeal to the independent agents, to try and work together, form some form of association and get a grouping that isn't taking a percentage of fees, it's just a fixed annual fee, and it's there for the right reasons to help the independents. And as I say, create a kind of listing service that would give them a status and a stage.
I like that. I think that would be really good for independent agents and companies.
Yeah.
You know, it'd make things a lot more smoother. Everyone works together. Obviously, we would be 2.0, you know, because
absolutely.
we learn from what we already know, and we just improve and get better every time. But I think that would benefit a lot of independent agents, and I think a lot of them would be more happy to come on board.
So if you've got thoughts or comments on that, please leave comments.
Independent bodies that offer the Cayman Islands better commission rates. That sounds amazing.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there we are. We'll bring it to a close now. Please remember to subscribe, like all the other things you have to do. Share it, mix it, move it.
Any questions that you guys may have, just shoot us a little comment,
Yep.
DM us, YouTube or either Instagram or Facebook, and we promise we will get back to you in the next podcast. We do want to hear from you guys because you guys are important as well.
Or stop us in the street and just talk to us.
Yeah.
That's possible.
You know what? Just pop in.
Pop by Miss June's cottage.
Just pop in.
You'll be most welcome.
It's not for sale, guys. It's our office and we're keeping it long term.
Kettle's always on.
Yes.
For the end of My Real Talk, this is
Kiara McLaughlin.
and Roger Southam saying bye-bye.